Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Emma and today we are in a beautiful different location. We are in Bali, Indonesia. I got here a few days ago and as always when I travel, my body feels a little funky, a little weird. So today's class is going to be kind of yoga for travel. So something you can do when, even if you have a normal practice that maybe usually feels a certain way. Sometimes after sitting on a plane or just spending all the time in a car, your body can feel quite funky and you can't usually do the things that you normally do. Like yesterday, I actually went to a yoga class here and even Warrior 1, Warrior 2 just felt really, really challenging. So that's what this class is going to be for. Let's go ahead and lie down. Actually, let's get started in a child's pose. Come towards the back of your mat. Bring your knees wide and your big toes to touch. And start to settle into your space, settle into your breath. Maybe take a few cycles of breath to ground into this moment. Notice the points of contact you have with the mat. Notice your surroundings, anything you feel, anything you hear. And start to notice your breath. Where do you feel it the most in your body? And can you feel it more in your nose, your throat, maybe all the way into your low belly? And draw a deep breath in like you're breathing all the way into your tailbone. Exhale completely. Do that again. Deep breath in. Exhale. One more time. Inch your fingertips a little bit more forward. Press into your finger pads. Lift your forearms, your elbows up off the mat. And then wiggle your shoulders out a few times, side to side. Take your left arm underneath, kind of like thread the needle, but continue to drop your right armpit. Your left palm facing up, right palm facing down. Think about your outer right shoulder dropping as it wraps around. You might crawl your right fingertips a little bit more forward, but keep sinking your tailbone and your hips back. And release. Extend your left arm forward, thread your right arm underneath with the palm facing up. And try to square your shoulders, your torso towards the mat. Kind of press down with the back of the right hand. Feel your outer left armpit drop. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Both arms extending forward. Walk your hands back towards you and then bring your knees together. Come up and sit in a hero's pose. Place your hands on your thighs. On your inhale, pull your sternum forward. Lift your chin, gaze up. Exhale, round your back, tuck your chin in. Look for your belly button. Again, inhale, arch back, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Exhale, round. Take a few more on your own. You can continue moving just like this or add in some cactus arms. So as you inhale, squeezing your shoulder blades together. As you exhale, rounding, bringing your forearms together. Inhale and exhale. Let's do 3 more. Last 2. Last one. Great. Plant your fingertips behind you. Start to lift your chest up, and then maybe lift your hips up away from your heels, pushing down through the tops of your feet. Feel that stretch through your quadriceps, your abdomen. Maybe even drop your head all the way back. And release. Hips to your heels if they're not already. Plant your hands in front of you. Come up to a tabletop position. Adjust your knees so they're underneath your hips. And then push your hips back towards your right heel, over towards your left heel. You're drawing a big clockwise circle with your hips. See if you can make those circles a little bit bigger, more exaggerated. You can even bring your shoulders past your wrists so that you feel a stretch in your hands. The next time you sink your hips back towards your heels, just switch directions. Go counterclockwise. Moving into those spaces that might feel a little tense, tight, as they feel really crunchy or sticky after traveling. Take one more circle in this direction. And then we'll meet in a tabletop position. Crawl your hands all the way forward into a puppy pose. Keep pressing down through the tops of your feet, especially through the inner edge of your feet, like on top of the big toe. Then try to press all 10 toenails into the mat. Tone your belly. You can stay here or bring your chin to the mat. Melt your heart space down. Imagine lengthening your abdomen, your waistline. Then slide all the way forward onto your belly into a Sphinx pose. Stack your shoulders over your elbows. Press the tops of your feet down. Bring your right ear over towards your right shoulder. Pause there. Start to drop your chin towards your chest and bring your left ear over towards your left shoulder. Pause there. Bring your chin towards your chest. Stretch the back of your neck. Keep pushing down into your forearms. And then lower your chest onto the floor. Slide your hands back underneath your shoulders. On this first one, really gentle, roll yourself up. So keep a bend in your elbows, pull your sternum forward, and then lower yourself right back down. Come up a little bit higher this time, and look off to the right. Maybe even bending your left knee, feeling a more intense stretch through the left side body. Straighten your left leg, come back through center, lower down. Roll yourself up, maybe looking off to the left this time. Option to bend your right knee. Keep sinking your hip points towards the floor. Extend your right leg if it's not. Come back through center and sink back child's pose. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Draw yourself forward to tabletop. Tuck your toes and send your hips up and back towards downward facing dog. Bend and straighten one leg at a time. Feel free to take this nice and easy with your knees bent generously. The movements can be as fast or as slow as feels good. We'll meet in downward facing dog. Finding stillness, don't focus so much on the legs being straight. Focus more on lifting your hips, lengthening your arms, and not dumping into the shoulders. Take your feet out nice and wide, about the width of your mat. Walk your hands back about halfway and then bring your thumbs to touch. Take your right hand and reach for your left ankle. I like an outside grip, and if you can't reach, you can walk your hands back more or take your feet out wider. Squeeze your legs. Think about bumping your hips a little bit to the right as you try to pull yourself through to the left for 3, 2, 1. Right hand meets left hand, and then left hand will reach for the outer right ankle. Imagine your right hand trying to slide the mat forward. Can you get lighter in your toes as you squeeze your legs and push your thigh bones back? Great. Bring your thumbs to touch and then walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Turn your toes out, yogi squats. Feel free to move a little bit side to side, shifting your weight right and left. Option to stay here, or the right hand again might reach for the left ankle. Lean a little bit to the right and extend your left arm up and over. So I like to think of this kind of like a Parikasana gate pose, seated gate pose variation, because you're getting that nice side stretch. Come back through center and switch. Left hand reaching for the outer right ankle, the right arm reaching up and over as you lean to the left for 3, 2, and 1. Come back through center, plant your hands on the mat and lift your hips up. Wiggle your feet in so they're the width of your hips. Point your toes forward, and then very, very slowly ragdoll yourself all the way up towards standing. Roll your shoulders back and down, and then take some circles with your neck one direction and the other. Stretch both arms up overhead. Bring your hands through heart center, interlace your fingers and push your palms down. Feel a stretch in your fingers, and then extend your arms up so the palms face up. Feel that stretch in your wrists, and then knit your ribs down. Take an inhale. Exhale, lean over to your right. Squeeze your legs, push your hips slightly to the left. Inhale, back up center. Cactus, bend your arms and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach up. Bring your hands through center, interlace, palms press down. Then scoop your arms up and lean over to your left. One more breath. Come back up center, cactus, bend your arms, squeeze shoulder blades together, lean back. Then clasp your hands behind your back, push your sternum towards the sky. Bend your knees a lot as you fold forward. Once you get down, shake your head no and yes. You can even kind of bounce your chest, your torso up and down a little bit if that feels good. And then release your hands to the mat. Walk your hands all the way forward and take a step forward with your right foot. Straighten into your right leg so you're in like a really long pyramid pose. And you can actually, let's actually spin that back heel down. So you're in just a really, really long pyramid pose. Now pull your right hip back a little bit. And start to bend your right knee so your feet are set up like warrior 1. Walk your hands over to the left, about 45 degrees into a down dog lunge. Feel a nice big opening, big stretch on your right hip. Keep bending deeply into your right knee. Take one more deep breath. Walk your hands over to the left into a wide leg forward fold. And then spin your heels in and your toes out. Come up to a goddess pose with your hands on your thighs. Just kind of move around a little bit. Wiggle your hips side to side. Then let's drop the right shoulder in the direction of the left knee. Back through center and switch. Back through center. Straighten your legs, rise, turn your toes in. Let's walk the right hand down the right leg and take a nice deep side bend. Squeeze your legs. All 10 toes are pointing in the same direction. Inhale, back up. And then come around to the back of your mat into a runner's lunge, framing your left foot. You're in a runner's lunge, framing your left foot at the back of your mat. Straighten your left leg and spin your right foot flat. So you're again in that really, really long pyramid pose. Trying your best to push your right hip forward and plug your left hip back. Let's bend deeply into that left knee. Keep your right foot as it is. Walk your hands 45 degrees to the right into a downward dog lunge. That left knee is tracking in the direction of the toes. You're trying to pull your left rib cage away from your thigh. Really pushing down through the outer right foot. Then walk your hands over to the right. Wide leg forward fold once again. Come up to your goddess pose with the hands on the thighs. You can move around this time or you can stay still. Kind of scooping the tailbone underneath you. Imagine sliding down a wall behind you. Maybe bringing your hands to heart center for a little bit more fire for 3. 2. 1, straighten your legs, rise. Turn all 10 toes to point to the long edge of your mat. Walk your left hand down your left leg. Take a nice big side stretch as you reach your right arm up and over. Press into your feet, rise. Spin around to the front of your mat. Step your left foot up to meet your right foot, forward fold. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise, reach your arms all the way up. Bring your right knee up and into your chest. Keep your arms up as you roll out your right ankle. So you're balancing on your left leg. And imagine kicking a soccer ball, a football over to the left. Take a figure 4 pose. I might like to bring the hands onto the right shin here, just for more stability and to feel the stretch more. Keep your toes flexed. One more breath. Look down. You're going to unwind your right leg, kind of towards like a half moon pose, but kind of focus on opening up that right hip. So you might take some big like hip circles, like we often do in down dog or in a tabletop, but it's definitely more challenging when you're balancing in a half moon pose on that left side for 3. You can also find stillness. 2. 1, take a long step back with your right foot. So you're in a warrior 2 on the left side. Bend and straighten or just kind of pulse into your left leg a few times for 3. 2. 1, Skandasana at the back of your mat. Bend your right knee, sink your hips, and flex your left toes. Spread your left toes apart and try to push your low back in. Take one more breath. And then pivot around towards the back of your mat. So you're in a runner's lunge twist. Left hand on the mat, reach your right arm up, sink your hips. Really think about that right hip crease sinking down and back. Start to roll to the outer edges of both feet. You might need to wiggle your right foot back a little bit. So all 10 toes will be pointing towards the long edge of your mat. Horizon lunge or sunrise lunge. Try to lower your entire left leg to the mat as you reach your right arm towards the front of your mat. Lift your hips up, extend your right arm up and over. Feel that stretch through your outer hips and pause there for 3, 2, 1. Keep the weight in your left hand and left foot. Step your right foot behind you into maybe a wild thing. Push your hips towards the sky. Try to look at either hand so you're not craning your neck too much. Take a deep breath in. And exhale. Flip that right around, right foot stepping forward. Let's come up all the way into a high lunge crescent warrior. Feel a stretch on your left hip flexor. Start to shift your weight into your right leg. Hug your left knee up and into your chest. Roll out your left ankle so you're balancing on your right leg now. And then imagine kicking a soccer ball or a football over to the right. Take a figure 4 pose, maybe with the hands on that left shin. 3. Keep pushing your butt back. Get heavy in your right heel. 2. 1. Nice and slow. Try to bring your right hand down towards the mat as you circle that left leg back and open. Maybe doing that a few times while trying to stabilize in your right leg. When you're ready, you can find stillness or keep moving in your half moon pose for 3. 2. 1. Start to bend your right knee. Take a long step back to warrior 2, where you're going to just pulse out, bend, straighten your right leg a few times. We'll do that for 3, 2, 1. Skandasana. Bend your left knee, flex your right toes. You can always put your hands on the mat if you need to get your left heel down. Angle your left toes out slightly. Take one more breath. And then pivot around towards the front of your mat into a runner's lunge twist. Right hand down, left arm reaching up. Think about really sinking your left hip down and back, and then let's roll to the outer edge of both feet. You might need to wiggle your left foot back a little bit. Sunrise lunge. So I like to lower this entire right leg down first, and as I push into the outer edge of my right foot and the kind of the bottom or outer edge of my left foot, my hips lift up and I feel an awesome stretch through my outer left hip. Keep your right hand, right foot on the mat. See if you can step your left foot behind you into a wild thing. Keep your right shoulder over your wrist. Take one more breath. And then slowly flip that around. Step your left foot forward and come up to a high lunge. Reach both arms up, crescent warrior. Really high on your back toes. Take an inhale. And then exhale, step your right foot to meet your left foot, arms by your side. Take a deep breath in. Exhale completely. Inhale, reach both arms up overhead. Look up, lean back a little bit, fold forward. Lift up halfway, pull your sternum forward. Grab your big toes, and then do that again. Lift up halfway. Fold forward. Feel free to put a little bend in your knees or a big bend in your knees. Squeeze your upper thighs. Imagine the crown of the head sinking towards the floor. 3. 2. And 1. Release that. Lift up halfway. Forward fold. Let's go ahead and actually bend our knees and come all the way down to a seated position. I want us to take a seated figure 4 pose. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Bend into your left knee. And then take the rounding out of your back here. Try to push your sternum towards your right shin. Push your low back in. You'll keep your right ankle crossed over your left thigh. Ardha Matsyendrasana. Left foot by your right glute. If that doesn't feel good, extend your left leg completely forward. Stretch your left arm up and then take a twist over to the right. Start to unwind your torso. Take a counter stretch over to the left, a little dip like a push-up. Press yourself back up. Now this bottom shin, the left shin, bring it parallel with the front of the mat. You might need to adjust your right foot so it's on top of your left knee. Agni Stambhasana or fire log pose. It's important that the outer edge of the right foot lines up with the outside or the top of the knee, so you're not bringing your foot in on the inner knee or towards the shin. You want to keep it stacked to help protect your knee joint. If your right knee doesn't meet your left foot, that's okay. You can always put like a block or a pillow there. I like to use the right hand to very, very gently push down. Take the rounding out of your back. And one more breath here. All right, go ahead and release that. Put your hands behind you and kind of kick out your legs a few times. And then we'll cross the left ankle over the right thigh in a seated figure 4 pose. Think about pushing your left knee forward and your sternum towards your left shin. And then keep your left ankle outside of your right thigh as you put your left foot onto the mat. Your right foot comes by your left glute, twist over to the left. Take a counter stretch to the right. Dip your hands off to the right, little dip like a push-up. And then push yourself back up. Move this right shin, bottom shin, so it's parallel with the front of the mat with your foot flexed. Keeping your left ankle, you can even keep the connection the entire time. That's the intention, is that these poses kind of go together. So make sure your left toes are flexed. So the bottom of the left foot lines up with the outer right knee. Maybe add a little pressure with your left hand. You don't want it to hurt. You want discomfort, not pain. Breathe. 3. 2. 1. Plant your hands behind you again. And you can kind of kick your feet out. And then lie all the way down onto your back. Pull your knees into your chest. And then you might take some big hip circles with your legs. Mosquitoes here are crazy, so I seem a little bit distracted. I'm trying not to get eaten alive. And then take those circles the other way. Take a happy baby pose. Grab your feet or ankles, pull down, little tuck of your chin. Try to lengthen the back of your neck. Bring the bottoms of your feet to touch Supta Baddha Konasana. Feel a gentle arch in your low back. You can always add your hands to your inner thighs for a little bit more. Close your knees up like a book. Hug your legs into your chest. Now, because I am absolutely getting eaten alive, I'm going to skip Shavasana. This was also more of like a stretch class than a yoga class, but if you do have time to stay and rest, pay attention to your breath for maybe 2-5, if you can make it, minutes, that's always encouraged. Shavasana is one of the most important parts of the practice, and a lot of times, people start doing yoga just for the physical benefits, but you soon realize there's a lot more to it. Shavasana is part of that. So again, I always give you Shavasana. Today, I'm getting eaten alive, and we did yoga. This was more of like a gentle stretch class, so I'm going to not guide you through Shavasana, but if you have the time to stay, meditate, even just pay attention to your breath, maybe just count to 10 breaths, I definitely encourage you to do that. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel and watching my videos. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful scenery as much as I do. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next week.